The John Lebang Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Worldwide and out to the greater universe, you're listening to the John Lebang Show.
Good evening. This is Mr. Voisine, intern principal, Haney Middle School, and I'm calling tonight to provide a reminder of the new test and state procedures beginning tomorrow, October 18th. Beginning tomorrow, the Michigan National Guard will begin assisting the Test and State program at Handy Middle School.
What you heard, ladies and gentlemen, is an actual recording that parents are receiving in my beloved state about what the requirements are for their children to go to school. And you heard it yourself. I'm not going to repeat it. Wait till after the video or the show, and if you want to hear it again, you can replay it. I'm not sure if this is gonna be able to stay up on this channel. I have a feeling we're gonna get a little problem with this one. But you see, ladies and gentlemen, it's very important information. And of course, the TikTok video that was on has been taken down. It's gone. So it was lucky that I made sure to get a copy of it before it went away, disappeared into the ether. And if this doesn't outrage you as a resident of Michigan, as a parent of Michigan, let alone any other state, because I'm sure this is not happening in one area alone. And what was the revelation, ladies and gentlemen? The national you-know-who was going to be used to administer this stuff. All because of Operation You Know What. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Brought to you by the Orange Man. Remember, he was the one who told you the military was going to deliver this. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And look, it wasn't him who did. He just gets out in time, leaves office in time, so these implementations are done by the Joe Petto administration. Isn't that wonderful? And Joe Petto's Treasury Department is also threatening the non-pokerized, ladies and gentlemen, with a story on October 15th. They're telling us, Treasury Secretary, that as long as the unpokerized people are still out there, there's going to be shortages. So we're getting threats now. We're getting threats. And even if you don't particularly believe that Orange Man is at fault here, he's the one who rushed it all through. He's the one that said the military was going to be used, and now it's being implemented. So was he just an idiot who didn't know what he was doing, or was he complicit in what was coming our way and now is here? I'm a little cranky over this, ladies and gentlemen, because no matter, and we've talked about it in the last show, no matter how much we want to try to escape it all and withdraw from the whole thing, they keep pushing. And eventually it's going to come right to your door. And these people in this little town, I don't want to mention the town. I don't want to mention, you heard it. I don't have to mention it. You want to hear it again? Play back the video or go to the archives. This is just the first step, ladies and gentlemen. And what are these parents? Personally, I'd be like, okay, we're done. You're bringing in the national, you know what, to do this sort of thing? We're done. No longer am I going to send my child to the public education system, which is so woke anyways. Why would you want to do it anyways? That's what they want, ladies and gentlemen. This is all being implemented so they can separate everybody. They know then how to deal with each group accordingly in the coming days and months. And trust me, ladies and gentlemen, I feel sick to my stomach that I didn't realize sooner that this year, in December, it was going to be 12/21. Now they're pushing, and they're pushing, and they're making it increasingly more difficult. And ladies and gentlemen, there's an end game to all this. So you got to realize that 12/21 that I've been talking about for so long, and that I'm sick about because I didn't realize that this year was going to be it. Well, that's around the corner. We don't have much time to get things sorted out for ourselves before the next phase of the operation goes into place. They're telling us publicly, ladies and gentlemen, you can see videos, you can drive down the road. They're even advertising this stuff on buses. The shortages are coming. You're not going to have your stuff. Prices are going up. They're warning you. They're telling you because they have to. These evil bastards are bound to let you know. But they know many people aren't going to listen because they're too busy doing whatever. And I'm growing increasingly frustrated. And you know how I'm trying to turn everything into a positive spin, and I'm still growing increasingly frustrated with the people I know who are going about their business like nothing's happening, or they're just accepting the changes. And it's hard to remain positive when you see this sort of stuff. And the things that were really important to me years ago are becoming less and less important as we get closer to whatever's coming. And most of us can feel it. Remember in the last show I says, go out and enjoy yourself a little bit because we don't know how much time we have. But when I see people who are still just to everything, blinded to everything, don't want to talk about it, don't want to listen to it, don't want to even see what is happening. Even though there have been, I'll exclude myself, there have been people, including William Cooper, who have been telling us this stuff was coming down eventually, and we should be ready for it, prepared for it, get ourselves in a position to be able to thrive in all this. And the vast majority of people aren't going to do it. They're never going to do it. Actually, about half the people are just going to follow along regardless. Another good percentage may hate it, but they're going to acquiesce to it eventually because their comfort level is going to be tweaked in such a way that they're going to have no choice but to do whatever the masters of reality want and tell them to do just to afford the basic creature comforts. And then there's going to be the rest of us who are the outcast, who are going to be probably one of the first set of casualties in the coming apocalypse, the cataclysm. Is this fear-mongering? I don't know. But when they keep pushing, and it doesn't matter what we do, That's why I keep telling you, ladies and gentlemen, just stop buying stuff. Get the stuff you need, but all the little garbage, little TVs and radios, and put all that out of the business. Stop worrying about the entertainment industry as far as the movie industry and the mainstream music industry. Help the local guys out all the time. But stop. They don't care if the money's going to run out anyways. They want to do it on their terms. I am suggesting we do it on our terms. It may be painful. It is going to be painful. It's going to suck. But we wait for them, which it's so close now, it probably wouldn't make a difference. They would be like, okay, it's just a few weeks, a few months, maybe even a few years away from what we wanted anyways. So what's the difference? But I'm tired as an individual watching all this. I want to do something about it, and I can't because, well, I can to a point. But we need competent authority, and there is none. Where in the government, where in the halls of government, where can we find somebody who's an ally to the people in all of this that hasn't been bought out by the masters of reality and who are not going to acquiesce to the major plot of the one world order? Who? Name me somebody, please. If you're watching on the YouTube video, put somebody up here in the chat room, in the chat box, so I'll contact them. Help us. We want to help you save the Republic, or at least save freedom. I don't even care about the Republic anymore. The concepts behind the Declaration of Independence is the concepts that I want to restore, which we know we've been long since gone from that. But ladies and gentlemen, if you know anybody of competent authority who is willing to stand up, please let us know. We can't see them. The people who are waiting for a person to do something. Because nobody's going to follow me. Who's going to follow me? I have no military background or political background. I hold no clout at all. And I honestly wouldn't want the job anyways, because to get what has to be done, it's going to get ugly. And I'd rather, if all possible, keep my soul as clean as possible. But that's not going to happen either. Whatever the soul is, by the way, I'm not touting any religious beliefs. I'd just rather not go to my grave knowing I've had to do some things that I really didn't want to do, but had to. But unfortunately, that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Unless we can get a big wake-up call, and that's not going to happen either, ladies and gentlemen. So again, it all boils down to you, the individual. What are you going to do to survive all this, to thrive through it, to kick butt, and to make sure these buggers don't come to get you? Because isms, whatever, communism, socialism, whatever ism we're talking about, they want to force it on everyone. They can't just say, okay, you don't want to be part of it, we'll leave you alone. See, only freedom allows that to happen. Every other ism won't allow that to happen. You've got to go with the majority. And if you're not part of the majority, then you're ostracized. You're an outcast. You're black sheep. And those people will have to be dealt with at some point because they won't acquiesce to the entire system that is now being laid out before you. Yeah, I'm a little fired up. I'm tired of it all. I wish it would just come down, like it would unload on us. But as I said almost probably 16, 18 months ago now, they were going to slow drain us. Little by little, bleed us dry. So all those stores that you had a year ago, you've probably already dug into them a little bit because you have to. They only last for so long. Anyways, folks, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more heated discussion.
Don't think about touching that dial.
That would be a mistake.
The John Lebang Show will be right back after this.
That's guaranteed, man. Like some good Thai stick.
Are you in need of commercial or residential window cleaning? Do you need your office cleaned? Maybe custodial work? How about some gutter cleaning? If you do, then call Pane in the Glass. For a beautiful shine that's crystal clear, call Pane and the Glass. You can find them on Facebook at Pane and the Glass. You're listening to the John Lebang Show.
It's better than the Eye convention.
I was told the other day, boycotts don't work. Ladies and gentlemen, they're about ready to boycott you. If you haven't been pokerized, then you're about to be boycotted. Do you understand? You might as well beat them to the punch. If you're not going to get the poker, if you're afraid of it, if you decided that's not for you, then realize you might as well withdraw fully now. Get what you have to get as far as important things, and then stop putting into the system and stop working for the system, because it won't matter anyways. They're going to drive you out of jobs. They're going to drive you out of getting food. They're going to drive you out of existence. So why don't you just get yourself ready for it and say that screw them, screw them, and move forward and say, okay, you don't want me part of your stuff? As long as you don't come and try to force your beliefs and your system on me, we're all good. I'll let you do your thing, and I'm going to be great over here, whatever I'm doing. And we'll have to figure out what we're doing. I'm hoping to put a nice, for my family, it's a little Christmas present that I'm thinking about, because everybody's going to have an interesting Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. It might not be as abundant as you're hoping for, or as, because they've told you. Remember, they're prepping you, ladies and gentlemen. They're telling you that the supply chain isn't going to be fixed by the time Christmas is here, and you better get that turkey, and you better get this, and you better get that early. Because these evil buggers running the world, the masters of reality, are obligated by oath in some way to tell you what they're going to do, even though it's the one truth and everything else can be lies and BS. They have to tell you what's eventually coming. That's why they're warning you about a future war with China or 31. That's why they're telling you that eventually, if you want the supply chain to resume, everybody must get the poker. Everybody. The Treasury deputy for the Joe Petto administration, which will be in office for 4 or 3+ more years, unless something dramatically changes. So if you think the tyranny is outrageous now, just wait till they're 2 years in or 3 years in. They're not going to worry about an election in 4 years for another couple of years. They don't have to. And you're going to do nothing about it. And there is nobody in competent authority going to do anything about it. So what's going to stop them from continuing their BS? So why are you waiting to get the hell out now? You know what I'm saying? Why are you waiting? They're going to make you obsolete. Ladies and gentlemen, go look. Go look. If you don't believe me, I've only been telling you this for many years, and this is something very few people have been telling you, even the ones who prognosticate and claim that they've been telling you all along that this is coming down. They're replacing you, ladies and gentlemen. Go look at all the videos where you see the sniper dogs and you see the robotics working in the fast food chains and the robots in almost every industry, even the ports. Go look at the videos where they have robots, robot trucks moving containers from here to there. Ladies and gentlemen, the human being is in the workforce level human being is being replaced. And what exactly is going to be the use of all these people. Somehow some are already gone because they can't seem to find workers. What is the use of all these people when they've replaced them all? Talk about useless eaters. Talk about, well, the undesirables. They're going to have to feed all of you? How are they going to feed everybody if they're just lumps on the log? Why would they want to do that? If they can't, and those all those people, if they're not going to have jobs, what are we going to get? Universal income? Maybe. Universal income until there's less people? Why is the Deagle document telling us that there's going to be a whole big reduction in certain populations by the year 2025? What do they know that we don't? What do they know? Get yourself ready, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to be all right in this. You're going to do fine in this. It's the people who aren't aware of the situation who are going to panic and who are going to run out for the teepee and the other items of, well, useless consumption. And that's what they're done with. Do you understand? The masters of reality, and I don't blame them. This is where I understand their point of view. They're tired of feeding 8 billion people. They're tired of health care for 8 billion people. They're tired of housing them. They're tired of all the social problems. And they said, well, let's just unleash them all now. And that's why we have the divides we have, and why they're forcing divides between things like the pokerized and the non-pokerized. So again, ladies and gentlemen, the best thing we can do is just accept that world is going to change, and the only way that we can survive, if we don't want to be a part of it, is to withdraw ourselves and go as long as we can until they come and try to do their thing on us. And I don't suggest, without any competent authority, and this is where I agree with Roy Potter a little bit, until there is some sort of competent authority willing to go out there and do the dirty work to bring people in under them, under that umbrella. Not me. It's not any of the YouTubers that you're watching, and it sure isn't any of the politicians we're looking at. Nobody in the military of any high enough ranking seems to care either. Nobody in the ABC agencies and the law enforcement and even the uppers of the medical field and the corporations, none of them care. The divide is there, ladies and gentlemen. They don't want to supply all, and they don't sure don't need the money. So they don't want to supply us with the stuff anymore. They're tired of the amount of people there are. Maybe they're into that global warming. It's not a scam to them. It's not, although we can tell when they're talking about a global tax over it, that it's probably a scam. And that the climate has always changed. So this Christmas, if you are one of the lucky ones who have built up a nice supply of seeds, I would say it'd be a good idea to give a little pack to everybody you really care about, who you hope will be around in 3 or 4 years. Because a small pack of seeds will be enough to supply people with a lifetime of food if they're diligent enough. Don't give them the food, give them the seeds, and have them learn how to grow. Because if everybody knows how to grow at least some portion of their own food, you won't have to rely on the masters of reality to bring you food. And like they're saying, there's going to be shortages on it. And it's going to cost more. And it's too bad for you if you don't like it. What you gonna do about it? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Hopefully that day never comes, ladies and gentlemen, where they show up at your front door. Because you're going to have a major choice that day. That'll be the day where you have to decide if you're really about freedom or you're all talk and you're just going to acquiesce, submit to the tyranny. There's no doubt about it. Even some of the not so enlightened people are catching on. They just have caught on a little too late and they don't know what to do. They just think it's this current administration. They failed to realize that this is a worldwide takeover. And in some countries, like our friends in Australia, the takeover is more overt. Unlike here in the States, where the enemy has worked from within for many years. We should have listened to that Russian spy, that old KGB agent. We should have listened to him. Some of us did, but nobody of competent authority ever did. And we should have done something to stop this 20, 30, 40 years ago. But the baby boomer generation was too worried about themselves. The X generation is pretty much the forgotten generation. Do you notice how they're rarely ever talked about when the groups are brought into play? You got the millennials and you got the baby boomers, and the Xers are just rarely ever discussed. They don't care. There's a reason they call that the X generation. You put an X over people because that doesn't count. That's scheduled for termination or elimination. And that way, once all the boomers are gone and all the X generation is gone, then all you have are the young millennials who are so easily manipulated. Isn't it a grand plan they've worked out, and the timing couldn't have been more perfect? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we only have about a minute left in the show. Please, if you like rock music and heavy metal, I've got a fundraiser coming up on October 30th on Alien X Radio. Please join in. It's going to go from 11:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. We're trying to raise money for the Banger Music Awards, which is an award show that I do every year. Hopefully we can get this in before it all falls apart. I'm a little worried about that. But the show is going to be in January 5th, on January 15th. And what we're trying to do is raise money to get everybody some really cool awards this year. It's been something we've lacked as a show, and we really want to take to the next level. We've got 2 rock stars already confirmed, a bunch of other presenters confirmed, and it should be a really great time. So please join us October 30th on Alien X Radio from 11:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Banger Music Awards fundraiser. We're going to have 18 bands we're interviewing. We'll be playing great music and talking about indie, rock, and metal. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Let me know what you think of the broadcast. Please give me your opinions on what things we can do in the coming days as the overall pale horse is upon us. And until next time, we'll see you.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Tune in again next week. Same